that we've covered the base, I want to get into the tools and strategies. I found that the greatest barrier when I was struggling early on was procrastination. This pushing off of deadlines and work ultimately stemmed from a lack of confidence in my abilities and believing that I could never be this, quote, perfect student, because I had so often failed and it was just always in the back of my mind. So instead of work, I did things that provided me with instant gratification. If you can just hit the... Yeah, perfect, thank you. So I would delay everything important and just do small, fun activities. But the problem with this is that the more you indulge the instant gratification and push off your work, you get more stressed, and then it cycles like that on and on, like we were hearing before. So the question is, you can hit it twice. How do you make this jump from procrastination into effective and efficiently tackling your work? How do you stop this cycle of stress and instant relief? Next slide. So the first thing that I would do is to stop viewing your work as depicted in this diagram. You really need to stop viewing yourself having to push a ginormous boulder up a steep hill. Your projects don't have to feel like this. You don't have to think about them like this. They only take this form when you create this image in your mind, when you procrastinate until the last minute, or if you psych yourself up before you've even had a chance to start. So I have found that it's much easier for me to approach my work in the following manner. You can change the slide. So the first thing that you'll want to notice is that the timeline is much longer, meaning that you start earlier and have more time for mistakes, more time for breaks, and more time to include creativity into your projects. And the second is that your effort never approaches a level that is unmanageable, and that would cause you to burn out. So applying a consistent amount of effort over a long period of time means that your tasks don't get overwhelming. And if you can hit again. Thank you. If we break down this timeline, the preparation phase is almost half of the total amount of work. You're brainstorming, organizing, getting feedback, and you bring your ideas into a story. Then progressively you build on that until you have a concrete list of tasks to carry out and be able to finish your work. This phase is not strenuous. You don't have to sit down for hours and long periods to read and write for hours and hours and hours. It's very informal. You can just sit down and do it quite easily. You just have to start, like we were saying before. But the reason that this works is because when you invest time into proper planning, your final stretch of work is extremely efficient. You have a detailed outline and a concrete list of tasks and the confidence that you know exactly what you have to carry out to finish. And more importantly, you have given enough time to finish. There isn't an incredibly steep hill of effort that you need to climb, like we saw before. You tackle your project progressively, efficiently, and with much less stress. Next slide. So the lack of stress associated with this work timeline is exactly why it is critical for me. I would describe myself as very low functioning under high stress. And furthermore, the small bouts of stress that some people claim really, really motivate them actually cause this negative procrastination cycle to kick in. I avoid my work, look for short-term relief in procrastination, and ultimately become more stressed. So I use the workflow that I described before to minimize stress and procrastination cycling. But more importantly, it also allows me to have bad days, days where an episode or a stressful trigger could not be avoided. It gives me a chance to deal with it, move on, and still produce quality work that I'm proud of, instead of having the stress completely topple me.